Hello, today I'm going to go into a specific species of bull ant, Myrmecia simillima. Myrmecia simillima is the binomial scientific name for a specific species of bull ant. Myrmecia is the word for the bull ant genus. Any ant with this scientific first name is in the genus of bull ant. The second word, Simillima, is the species within the genus. When it comes to bull ants, there are roughly 90 species we currently know of, and they come in a variety of colours and sizes. The jumping jack, a small species of bull ant that can jump. A giant red ant, ranging from 3 centimetres in length. A nocturnal giant bull ant that forages in the dead of night. There are so many species to list, and they live all over Australia. But for this video, we're going to look at Myrmecia simillima and what makes this species special in its own unique way. Myrmecia simillima workers range from a size of around 19 to 23 millimeters, and the queen around 25 to 27 millimeters in length. This species is huge and is native to Australia's coastline and inland areas of New South Wales and Victoria. This species isn't exactly rare. However, they do come in a couple of changing variants. Myrmecia simillima have 2 main variants, the deep purple and red shaded variant, and the black variant. The 2 variants are fairly easy to distinguish, and the size doesn't really vary from variants. The 2 can have slight changes within themselves, having sometimes darker colours or more pronounced colours. When bull ants have their nuptial flights, most species opt to fly when mating, but in some instances with Myrmecia simillima, they don't fly at all. When an ant species doesn't fly in their nuptial flights, the queens are called oregatoids. And what this essentially means is that the queens have to walk on the ground dispensing their pheromones and waiting for a male to sense them and fly down to mate. However, this species does still fly sometimes to mate. After they mate, the process is the same, where the queen digs her claustral chamber and lays her eggs to raise her nanitics, the queen's first generation of worker ants. Colonies in the wild of this species have been seen to exceed 2,000 numbers and live for many years. I very often find that Myrmecia simillima and a few other bull ant species create a mound of pebbles, bark, grass and dirt that covers their entrance to the nest, and it is given regular maintenance, especially after rain. A mound like this helps to protect the nest from rain and to deter invader ants. When messed with, these huge ants are not afraid to charge at the attacker and strike, delivering a toxic dose of venom in a sting. In captivity, where I currently raise 6 queens of various stages of this species, I can have a closer look at the inner workings of a Myrmecia simillima nest and how they behave. The first queen I currently have has no brood, but does have some prominent wing scarring on her thorax where she tore her wings off after her nuptials. This queen is quite active and lives in this test tube setup like all of my other single bull ant queens. The second queen I have has 2 young larvae. These larvae hatched from their eggs not too long ago. I caught this queen from a claustral chamber that I dug up from under a rock. This queen is of the black variant, just like the first queen I presented. The third queen here has a bunch of large larvae that are almost ready to spin their cocoons and go into the second last stage of metamorphosis, pupation. Here she already has 1 pupae that will go on to hatch into a worker in a month or so. Hopefully the rest of her larvae spin their cocoons successfully. Unfortunately, the queen's first generation of larvae failed to spin their cocoons and died, but her second generation is looking promising. This queen is of the dark red and purple variation, and is by far my most active Simillima queen. The fourth queen I have of this species is of the black variant, and she already has her first worker. And immediately after the worker hatched, she laid a huge batch of 20 eggs. This is quite unusual for bull ant queens, as usually at this stage in their development, they aren't too confident in the amount of eggs they want to care for. But this queen was well up to the challenge, and managed to raise most of them up into huge larvae, soon to pupate. I have very high hopes for this queen, and I think her second generation of workers will be massive in numbers. My fifth queen simply just has 8 eggs, and my sixth has a batch of 6 medium-sized larvae. In the future, these queens will all have a chance to create huge colonies and go on to create many workers, and one day create elates to mate again in nuptial flights of their own. Thank you for taking the time to watch this short documentary on Nemesia Simillima, and I hope you learned something about this species that you'll remember. Just like me, there are many small ant keeping channels that are trying to start their channel base, one of which is Ants Down Under. Go and check him out and give him a sub. He showcases some of his own colonies there and is starting to upload more frequently now. Thanks for watching, and goodbye for now.